The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audience.
Yo, it's about TTB. About TTB, the CDB After Dark, episode 59, the Grand Tour of Iran. If you know what that means, you know what that means. We got some breaking news. This happened earlier today. So one of the people that was featured in the Nick Shirley video that sparked out all the stuff happening in Minnesota, she pled guilty over a $4 million fraud scheme. So there's some movement going on, man, on that front. Her name is Fahima. I said a gay. I think it's a gay. I'm not going to even try to finish pronouncing that. But yeah, she out of there, man. She pled guilty on that. I wonder what they're gonna give her. So we got some more breaking news. This happened in Houston. So I'm just gonna let this play. Let's go here. Bam.
News from the Magnolia Park neighborhood. A man shot in the stomach with ICE agents and federal investigators on scene. Within the last few moments, we've confirmed that man has died. Let's show you where this is happening at the intersection of Canal Street and Highway 90.
Yes,
KPRC2's Bryce Newberry is there working to gather the latest. Bryce, what have you learned?
Andy, federal agents just left Canal Street here in the last 30 minutes or so. They had been on this scene for about 8 hours, as we have just confirmed through an ICE spokesperson that an ICE agent opened fire and killed a Mexican national here on this street just before 7 o'clock this morning. What ICE is telling us this afternoon is that enforcement officers were out here attempting to pull over that Mexican national. He's been identified by ICE as Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. And according to ICE, when they tried to stop him, he refused to stop. ICE says from the information that they are getting, he then used his vehicle in an attempt to ram
where they learned that from?
Officers who were out here. He
did
not follow verbal commands, according to ICE. And then that is when, according to ICE, he tried to run over the agents who were out here attempting to pull him over. ICE says that an agent then opened fire. The man Salgado Araujo got rushed to Ben Taub Hospital. According to the Houston Fire Department, we're told that he was taken there with CPR in progress. And then we have just learned from ICE this afternoon that he died there at the hospital. There's still a lot of questions here. We have not seen any video of this incident, but we saw that the FBI Houston's evidence response team came to process this scene. Again, those federal agents have been here for about the last 8 hours today. We have reached out to the mayor's office to get any additional.
Look, man, I don't keep it a buck with y'all, man. Like, if he trying to run over the agent, man, we already seen this play out. You can't do that. Like, here's an example that's close to home. He from the dude from the hood, Rara. He had a warrant out on him or whatever, and like, you gotta. Once you in, they got you. You can't get in your car trying to drive or anything. They're gonna look at that as a threat, man. And you know, that situation happened, man. RIP to Rah-Rah, but like, it was one of them situations like, yeah, dude. That's the first time because like a lot of times you don't know like the law really until you go to like the class, and if they go to gun class, I understand constitutional carry. Just go there to learn some game. Anyway, that's beside the point. But like, yeah, man, like how cops, they perspective, once you in the car, if it's on, man, if you drive anywhere, they gonna look at that as a threat. Like, that could be a deadly weapon. And dude, hey, and he probably trying to dip off on them. So yeah, they had him. So let's see how this play out. Well, we know how it played. Let's see what the Mexico response is. Let's ride.
Houston police officers were here on the scene, also holding the perimeter. We did see a white van that got loaded onto a wrecker as part of this investigation, and then hauled away from here this afternoon. A lot of reaction coming in from the community while the police tape was up out here. We did see a lot of those neighbors coming. They had seen on social media what happened. A lot of them upset. My colleague Joy Addison is just down the road here on the other side of where this scene has cleared. She's been speaking with those neighbors throughout the day. Joy, what are they telling you?
Yeah, well, I've been out here trying to speak with neighbors and figure out exactly what happened. What I've been able to piece together so far is that whatever interaction happened between 4 men that were in a van headed to work, picking up someone on this street, happened right over here in front of this business and home right here. Now, I'm told by the stepdaughter of one of the men that was in that vehicle that they stopped to pick up a coworker and that they had suspicions that ICE was behind them. Upon arriving at a home on this street, one of these addresses here behind me, the men had some type of interaction with ICE, and during that interaction, Lorenzo Salgado was shot. Video from our media partner Grizzly's Hood News shows that man lying on the ground screaming. He was later taken to Ben Taub Hospital. Now, when I was able to speak with the stepdaughter of one of the men who was in the car, she said that she and her mother were made aware of what happened due to some social media video that had been floating around TikTok. They saw on that video the co-worker of her stepdad, Mr. Salgado, laying on the ground, bleeding and begging for help. Like I said, that is the same video that was posted by our media partner, Grizzly's Hood News. Now, as you heard my colleague,
media partners, so influencers are media partners now, man. That's crazy.
Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, who has now died at the hospital. Montserrat left here with 2 other men that were in the car, not the man that was shot. So 3 men.
That's enough of that. We got the picture. President Claudius Sheinbaum, is pursuing legal action against the United States because ICE shot and killed a Mexican illegal alien who nearly rammed an ICE agent to death with a vehicle. Quote, "We cannot allow the mistreatment of our fellow Mexicans in the United States." Okay. They're here legally. Come on, what are we talking about here? That's I wish they would have had an actual quote on there. So that's a sad situation, man. You can't you gotta take the L, man. You can't try to ram the police officer with your car, man. I understand. You might, I don't know. It might have been one of them situations where he go back and be something worse. So I don't know, man. Yeah, that's a sad situation. So General Motors and Toyota. General Motors doing another $275 million investment in Tennessee. And I heard about Toyota moving their Mexico production to Texas. Apple and Micron. Micron is a big deal. Like, you know, I'm a PC guy, man. Like Micron make a lot of chips. They make a lot of M2, like NVMe chips for like the your M2 drives and solid states, and then the actual memory. They do a lot of that. So that's a good move though. So let's see what he got.
So and they're building factories all over the country. I think yesterday Toyota announced they're leaving Mexico, and they're coming. I'm not that Mexico's thrilled about it, but they're leaving Mexico, and they're coming to the United States to build what
They're probably gonna move
I
more
believe
to
the
San
largest
Antonio.
automobile plant either in the world or at least in this country.
Mr. President, on oil prices today.
So
All right. So right now, the last couple of days, Trump been at the NATO summit. That's where he was at right there when he announced that. So this is the German chancellor talking about like right now the United States spend 80% of the NATO budget. They bring in 80% of the NATO budget, while all the other countries only bring in 20%. So he's gonna talk about that. And then this is gonna go to my next video. Let's rock.
Kann ich da abschließend nichts dazu sagen, aber diese Gespräche werden geführt. Wir wissen seit Trump eins, dass er sehr häufig mit massivem Auftritt auch Druck aufbaut. Und ich will es nochmal von der konstruktiven Seite aus sagen.
I got the actual transcript. German Chancellor admits Trump often applies pressure through a forceful approach, and I cannot blame him. Just look at the numbers. The U.S. spent around 80% of NATO's defense resources, while Europe accounts only 20%. So while Trump is doing that, right? And we better get to this video. Like, let's see, it's 13 minutes. I'm probably gonna stop it halfway. But this is a good follow, man. She's a good follow. We want to know what's really going on between the between the articles. You know, I learned a lot of game from this lady right here. Real talk. I didn't know like situation like the Council of Foreign Affairs being connected to the British elite, that's a crazy. It kind of adds up when you look at everything. But I ain't gonna get on that. Let's read.
For months, Europeans have been planning strategies to deal with Donald Trump at this week's NATO summit. And it turns out the president almost didn't go.
I was very disappointed with NATO, and frankly, if it weren't held in Turkey, where my friend happens to be a very strong leader, a very strong person, it's possible that I wouldn't have attended. I felt I had to attend because of the fact that I know he's gone all out.
Turkish President Erdogan picked up on that theme of a strong leader when he talked about Trump himself.
So here's the thing, man. Erdogan is in a actual decent position right now because he's basically sitting between two worlds, the Western world and the Middle East, right? And with the weakness of what's going on in Iran, which we're going to talk about, he's in a precarious position where he could actually dictate both areas if he chooses to. Like that country, this is the Ottoman Turks' dream situation where the Europe isn't the Europe when they repelled the Ottomans back in Romania and shit. This is not the same, you know, in actually Vienna be more precise. This is a week of Europe where they lost their geopolitical identity a little bit. You know, there's a lot of people feeling guilty about who they are and everything, you know. And Turkey is in this position where they're gonna have a lot of sway in the EU dealings, because I believe they're still in the EU, and they can have sway in the Middle East because they have, I believe them and Egypt got the top militaries in the land. And notice them the two countries that didn't get hit by Iran, didn't do anything against Iran. Egypt in a precarious position because of how Libya is and how they got unrest within their ranks. Turkey is in a position where they have to kind of play the long game, because they're gonna be the center. I mean, they literally gonna have all the cards, because let's say the EU, they're gonna be able to dictate what the EU does if they play it right. Because like I think the only country that got an army that rivals them as in manpower, I'm not talking about technology and everything, as in manpower right now, might be France. Germany is a weird one, but I think France, technology wise, Poland probably got Poland and Germany still got that edge, but Turkey got a lot of manpower. And then they're gonna have a lot of influence, because like they could have influence if Iran's gone after picture. Let's say Iran's not doing not playing the influence game anymore because they out the picture. People gonna go somewhere. They're gonna go somewhere for like that type of influence and stuff. I'm talking about from the Islamic world, and they, like I said, Turkey's in great position, which is crazy thinking about it. This is why Trump, in my opinion, this is why Trump actually went, because he knows, like, you take Iran out, like we doing, and Egypt not in a position they not in a position to take control of anything really. So Turkey is the next best, like that's the best thing. You kind of want to make sure they understand, like, we're on the same page here. So I get what Trump doing. Let's read.
The fact that we are convening here today for the NATO Ankara summit, and that all the leaders are arriving and have arrived, and we will be executing the NATO summit tomorrow with the presence of President Trump, which will be adding might and strength to our summit.
And 2 days earlier, on Independence Day, another world leader singled out Donald Trump and the role of the United States. Russian President Vladimir Putin spent 85 minutes on the phone with President Trump. And that call has more to do with reality than all the European posturing in Ankara. Erdogan and Putin understand something European leaders and Mark Carney don't. And by the end of this video...
And another thing, she probably won't get on this, Putin's don't know how to get out of Ukraine. So, I mean, this is a lesson geopolitics. Like, our battles ain't meant to be fought. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes patience and reading the room, not getting forced by like powerful elites to do something, you know, towards or whatnot, can probably help you out in the long run. Like him going to Ukraine kind of box him in this position where he really can't get out of that situation. We'll talk about that a little later on.
Video, you will too. I'm Susan Kokinda, and I've tracked British imperial management of American foreign policy for decades. Here's what I'm going to cover today. First, how Trump's visit to Turkey signals a new set of rules for foreign policy. Second, how Carney and the Europeans walked themselves into a dead end. And third, the importance of Putin's phone call and how it points to the end of a century of geopolitics. So look at how Turkey greeted President Trump. First came the ginormous motorcade and mounted cavalry escort.
Influence play. Like, if they know they benefit from Iran's demise, that's the influence play. I mean, I stand on that. Mark my words on it. This is what you call influence play. And what I mean by influence play is you be the biggest. If you got ambitions to control 2 parts of the world, influence wise, the last thing you want to do is piss off somebody that could upheave that influence. So they playing the game, the long game.
And that was followed by President Erdogan standing with President Trump while cannons saluted the Star-Spangled Banner. Now, by contrast, EU head Ursula von der Leyen arrived in what looked like a Turkish Uber, and Canada's Mark Carney was greeted on the tarmac by Turkey's finance minister. Seeing the difference between the reception afforded to Trump and these others will make it easier to understand what really went on. Now, President Trump made some very precisely crafted statements about Turkey.
Turkey has been a great ally for us. Turkey could have gone on the side. They know Iran very well, and they know the problems. They've been very instrumental, along with a couple of other countries, of helping. They could have gotten into, here's some people their relationship with Israel. They could have gotten into the fight. They're a very powerful military nation. They didn't do that.
And he went on to put on the table the possibility of selling F-35 fighters to Turkey. That left everyone from Bibi Netanyahu to Mike Pence to the Wall Street Journal editorial board very unhappy. Now,
so with that, what that is, look, number one, we got plane already ready to take over for that role. Everybody knows this. If you know, you know. Secondly, Turkey got some of the Russian SAM situation, and there's a little dark spot. I ain't gonna say dark spot. There's a little blind area that we want to see. That's some game they doing right there. That's why he said that. So the reality is, if you get Erdogan somewhat on our side, that means you still isolating. Because I mean, Russia got to get some type of they got to get some type of buyer for their stuff. You kind of cut them out of the thing that they isolate them more. So like, I believe this. I think Turkey will get what the ideal is to get Turkey to not buy Russian stuff and buy our stuff. So then that isolates Russia from like another client they have to buy they like Sam's and they I think some of their I think Russia make their not Russia Turkey make their own small arms. They got matter of fact I think what's it Canik. Canik is Turkey. If y'all know the gun company Canik, they make some good pistols while you playing. That's their pistol. They Turkish. So yeah. So a lot of things they probably buying from Russia might be the radar and the SAM stuff, of course. So if you offer them the F-35 and they forget, they're like, oh, we don't need the Russian stuff anymore. That's a client. That's a more bigger client and everything. So yeah. Hold on real quick. All right. I knew something was missing. Let me change something. Give me 1 second up. And so got that. All right. That's better.
Turkey has been prevented from such purchases since it went ahead back in 2017 and bought S-400 surface-to-air missile defense systems from Russia. Think of that, a NATO country buying from Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Erdogan has also maintained contact with both Moscow and Kiev while the NATO alliance has demanded that instead.
Oh, that's another angle. It's a good angle there. I see what you're doing, Turkey. That's a good angle there. I see what you're doing.
He choose sides. I'm going to get back to the importance of that later.
Oh, that's a good angle.
But all of this points to something important about Turkey under Erdogan and why Donald Trump decided to go to the NATO summit to see him and not Ursula von der Leyen. Remember, Trump almost didn't come. Because unlike all other members of NATO, Turkey plays by its own rules.
Yep.
You don't have to like all of Erdogan's alliances or policies or his relationship with the Muslim Brotherhood. Donald Trump recognizes that he's dealing with a critical figure at a critical crossroads in Eurasia, who is not playing by the rules of Britain's great game. And the fact that Turkey deals with both the United States and with Russia, and that Erdogan didn't play the expected role in backing Iran, has left the empire playing a game that's in the process of being rolled up. And that's why the Europeans and Mark Carney are showing up at the NATO summit looking very much like a group of backup singers, hustled up on the stage at the last minute to perform for a new superstar. Donald Trump is creating a new dynamic in the world, and it's the one that the game masters don't want you to see. Well, we want you to see it and understand it as this summit. On the eve of the NATO summit, the Wall Street Journal published a piece they've been working on for months. They describe a secret marathon meeting in Brussels back in January, where nearly 30 European leaders debated well past midnight about whether America, the protector of Europe, had become a threat. But the man giving instructions wasn't even in the room. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, the central banker, had been messaging Europe's leaders from a British phone number left over from his London days, insisting that Europe had to deal with the fact that the old America isn't coming back.
What's
and
up,
that
JJ?
article even reports that MI6, Britain's intelligence service, has been providing profiles on how to manage Donald Trump.
Man, this is some dirty work here, man. Hey, and here's a crazy thing. So, where Ghislaine Maxwell family was from, like where they lived at, Great Britain. Like it's crazy. I'm not saying Great Britain is our enemy or anything like that. I think they play the influence game like everybody else. It's just crazy looking at the grand scheme of things, right? Where what she's laying out, man, like we're not playing ball to the point where they want us to play ball anymore. It's crazy. And we gotta really pay attention to the leaders that end up start playing ball, playing this because like honest God truth, like in another video she did, that's how we end up getting the income tax, because we were playing accounts for foreign relations. You know, the tariffs were whooping their ass back in the gap, and free trade because they got in World War I, which was that whole situation crazy. But that's another story. Let's read.
Now, the net result of all of this is that the Europeans have marched into the NATO summit with a splendid new defense posture, unveiled by EU head Ursula von der Leyen and NATO General Secretary Mark Rutte. They released it in a co-signed article in the London Economist, of course, and then in a press conference in Ankara. Rutte and von der Leyen declared that Europe is going to stand on its own without the United States. They said the era of outsourcing Europe's defense is over, and they use the new word of the day, resiliency. And they talk about the need for a stronger European defense industry that can produce at scale and speed. Now, Bloomberg...
I believe that, JJ. I actually believe that, but that's another story. I believe that wholeheartedly because, yeah.
Coverage
I'm not going to touch that.
Of this kind of spills the beans on the real purpose of this with a headline that reads, NATO agrees to $50 billion in defense spending to placate Trump. Maybe MI6 wrote that headline. But there's just one.
Bloomberg, man, come on, the placate. Man, it's for your own defense, man. Like, see, this is the crazy thing about Europe right now, right? All them fools are all the people. They let everybody over there. So, I don't know, man. I fear for Europe. Real shit. That's the one area I see is a potential powder keg. Because it's always been a powder keg, but like you add a whole pretty much a whole new population to the mix, where they probably been trained, been this, been that, from yay high. It's not a good mix, man.
One problem. Reality has already left Carney and the Europeans behind. And keep the real question in front of you. What do Erdogan and Putin see that these backup singers can't? Watch what happens when the resiliency slogan meets the real world. Conservative Treehouse captured the state of the German economy with this chart showing the collapse of German industrial production. And that collapse is only going to accelerate if Volkswagen's expected July 9th announcement delivers on the threat that 100,000 jobs will be cut and 4 plants will be closed down. And Great Britain.
That's definitely traces of the Belt and Road Initiative. Come home to roost per se. The quote of famous reverend that a president went to. That's right.
Having shut down its longest virgin steel furnaces in 2024, is now down to a single plant which is on government life support. It could soon be the only G20 country that can't make its own virgin steel. The steel, by the way, that you need for warships and submarines.
That's crazy.
And Mark Carney, who's lecturing the world about the middle powers standing on their own, has just announced a prospective $20 to $30 billion submarine contract to Germany. So a deindustrializing Canada is buying submarines from a deindustrializing Germany.
Don't make any sense.
Talk about the mouse that roared. And at this summit, Carney also revealed what his middle power alliance actually amounts to: a bank. He launched the Defense, Security, and Resilience, there's that word again, Bank, which will be headquartered in Canada. The central bankers answer to a hollowed-out industrial base.
So, who's putting this money in that bank? You saying, man, Canada tax better go up?
Isn't a furnace or a shipyard. It's a lending facility. And Carney also established a new lending facility with Ukraine. So the financial architecture is going up, but the industry it's meant to serve is coming down. And how did they get here? Well, they did it to themselves. Carney's Globalism 2.0 still clings to the very policies, green energy, free trade, and open borders, which have already made their industries and their cultures disappear.
Did you know in Great Britain, I don't know about France and anybody else, but Great Britain, they actually, what's up, CP3? They actually arresting people for using air conditioning during the heat wave, and they want to tell us how we need to live. Okay, I got the fan, this fan, and the air conditioning rolling. You know, hey, America.
That's the bankruptcy of Carney's middle powers. They announced that defense industrial production is the key to deterrence, the very week that VW announces massive layoffs and shutdowns. They're promising a war economy they no longer have the means to build. Which brings us back to the question we started with. What do Erdogan and Putin understand that Europe doesn't?
JJ, man, that shit is insane. And like right now, man, like I'll tell you this. I was in San Antonio over the weekend. I talked about it yesterday, and you'd be surprised how many British people was down here like enjoying it. Oh my God, I got air conditioning, our food season right, the whole nine, man. They're loving it, man. What's up, DNYC?
Trump is building a different set of alliances with nations that are intent on their own interests, and Turkey is one of those. Here's something else from that press conference. Asked about the Ukraine-Russia conflict, President Trump said it's going to get settled. And then he pointed to Erdogan, and he said,
"We get along very well with both, and we're going to get it settled, and that's helping us get it settled, as he's helping with Iran."
So think about what's actually going on. You're watching the president restructure the geopolitical map. Nations act in their own interest, and Trump figures out how to deal with them, as they are, instead of everyone playing an imposed role in a world of perpetual division. And the
Mhm.
biggest division of all, the one the entire system has been built around, has been keeping Russia at arm's length from the United States, which is what makes the July 4th phone call so important. Here's how Putin's spokesman Yuri Ushakov described part of that discussion. Today's conversation between the two heads of state began with President Putin congratulating Donald Trump and the American people on their landmark holiday and recalling Russia's contribution to the development of American statehood. In this context, the presidents noted the importance of treasuring the historical heritage
Smart move.
which our nations share. And that shared heritage has placed Russia on America's side against the British, starting with the Revolutionary War. It was Catherine the Great of Russia
True.
who organized the League of Armed Neutrality to break Britain's
True.
grip on the seas during the American Revolution.
So, little American history for y'all, right? Because Catherine the Great did that, Norway, Austria, Finland, even though a lot of Switzerland, a lot of those countries just didn't partake, didn't really trade with, didn't even partake in it. So that what happened, that Great Britain couldn't call on like some other countries to help them out, like kind of like how they did with Napoleon. Like Napoleon was really wrecking shop in Europe. That's when Great Britain, battle while Waterloo and all that stuff went down. But like they could call on other countries and put, because everybody was during that time, everybody was like at odds with each other to a point. You got everybody, you got pretty much family quarrels and stuff that was going on throughout the 1700s and stuff. Royal family quarrels like the Habsburgs and all that stuff. So yeah, Catherine the Great did do that because a lot of elite during that time was actually, because you have to think about the time period where this was pretty much like close to Asian Enlightenment time, where you had a lot of Western philosophies from the 1700s. I think John Locke was around there. Immanuel Kant. I did Thomas Hume. Nietzsche. I don't know, Nietzsche was later on. Even fucking Marx, his dickhead ass. He was a little later on too, but still, you had a lot of that thought process going to the nobility. So when they saw United States, the 13 colonies take. Hey, what's up, Selena? What's up? Take that mantle and put it to use. A lot of people were just intrigued by that. It was just crazy looking at that would end up becoming most of their downfalls because the populace became intrigued by that, by the thought process of all men created equal, even though things was flawed here. I understand slavery and everything. I'm not poo-pooing that, but the concept was intriguing to a lot of the nobility in Europe. That's why a lot of them went with the neutrality cause. They did an oath of neutrality because they wanted to see if it could actually happen, which is crazy thinking about it. It's the sign of the times of that day. Let's read.
Revolution. And when we fought the Civil War against the British-supported Confederacy, it was the Russian fleet that sailed into New York and San Francisco harbors in 1863 as a warning to London to not directly intervene.
I think that's Peter the Great. Hold on, let me make sure I'm around that. I think that's Peter the Great that pushed that. Hold up. Alexander II. Yeah, that's right after like I said, everybody's putting a check on each other. Cause like the Dutch, during that time, like the Dutch and British didn't get along. Shit, everybody didn't really get along. Let's read.
And when Russia set out to industrialize, It was the American system by name that Russia's finance minister, Sergei Witta, turned to. And that turn only...
Did you know Winchester made a lot of during the Industrial Revolution? Winchester made a lot of their rifles, Russia's rifles. That was one of the deals that happened like after we bought Alaska. That was one of the deals. So they got American made stuff. Like the model 1895, that's a Winchester, I believe.
Deepened the British Empire's fear of Russia. It had marked Russia as a threat to its great game in Eurasia long before the Bolshevik Revolution. And there was more to that July 4th conversation between Trump and Putin that must have had the empire.
By the way, Queen Victoria, matter of fact, what's so crazy about that? Nicholas, this is the craziest thing about World War I, I meant. Nicholas, what's Nicholas and King George and Ferdinand and hold on, I just went blank. Yeah, Kaiser Wilhelm, they all cousins. They are because like when what Queen Victoria did, she married off and got married off her kids to other countries. So it's like one of those situations where it's like a family quarrel. Like Nicholas, you go look at Nicholas, Kaiser Wilhelm, and I think King George, they all look alike.
In a tizzy. Ushakov reported that the two presidents discussed the colossal potential for mutually beneficial cooperation between the two countries. And then they discussed the upcoming launch of a Russian-U.S. crew from Russia's Baikonur Space Launch Center as, quote, a specific example proving the two powers' interest in close cooperation across different fields. This is what the empire fears the most. Sovereign nations finding common ground in economic development, and especially in pushing the frontiers of human knowledge.
Here's another thing, too. Because Europe did what they did with the immigration thing, with geopolitics, you always got to have checks and balances. Like, our check and balance is our system itself, right? We'll never have, it'll be hard to get like a despot here because of how our checks and balance, the American psyche, like if you tell somebody what to do in America, right, they're just gonna do the opposite. That's just the way we is. So our system itself stops a lot of the stuff that happens elsewhere. So with that being said, like that's the check and balance. But in Europe, you gotta kind of have countries as the checks and balance. You gotta have like Poland is a check for just in case Russia wanna invade Europe again. Poland is designed with how their military in the way they don't like the Russians, because if you know the history of when the Soviet Union took over Poland, that was a nasty little situation. So what they're doing right, you gotta have checks and balances. Like Russia's a check if just in case this EU thing become Hitler's wet dream, become the Fourth Reich type situation. That can always happen. It takes a couple of like-minded political parties to gain up together, and there you go. You got that situation over again, and then now they got military. So you gotta have a check for that. That's what Russia's for. That's what Turkey's for. That's why you kind of want a stable Middle East with everybody, all parties, including people who don't like the Israelis. All parties in the Middle East kind of chill, make this money, getting this tourism, doing this, building up, upper mobility, the whole nine. Keep them away from the fanaticism. Everybody chill in that area. So now, if something goes down to mess with the money or whatever, you got three potential partners to combat that situation. I'm not even talking about South America. I'm not even talking about Asia, because like Japan is literally Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, India, to be exact, too. They a check for like literally everybody that's bordering China is a check for China because China's landlocked, and then Russia's a check there. They can't really invade Russia like that. 15-minute rule. Go look it up. So that's basically what the what's up, Salute? Yeah, you good people. Appreciate it, Mel Dub. Hey, you know you the homie. You're always welcome over here, man.
Now go back to the collapsing economies of Carney's middle powers and their increasing irrelevance. That is what Erdogan understands. That is what Putin understands. A new world built on the American system and an American foreign policy that deals with nations as they actually are. For over 100 years, men who weren't in the room set the rules. Keep nations weak and divided, and especially keep Russia and America apart. This week in Ankara, you watch those rules continue to fall apart. President Trump didn't fly to a NATO summit. He flew to see a leader who plays by his own rules. Putin didn't call to threaten. He called to remind us of a friendship the empire spent 2 centuries trying to erase. And the middle powers stood on a stage announcing a war economy they can no longer build. That's the shift, not more defense spending in a binary world of managed divisions.
Yep.
Instead, nations dealing with each other under the growing revival of American system economics. The backup singers on stage at Ankara can't or won't see it.
So this is why he has a lot of temps on his life right there. So with that being said, this was going on in Iran. So this happened yesterday. Like this has been going on since probably Monday. Just in the Pentagon released videos of American forces obliterating over 90 targets in Iran tonight in retaliation for regime attacks on civilian vessels. This is in addition to the 8 damn, they going in to the 80 targets hit last night by U.S. forces. Tonight's strikes include air defense systems, coastal surveillance assets, missile and drones, storage sites, naval capabilities, and military logistic infrastructure along Iran's coastline. So that means they probably hit everything along the coastline in probably Karg Island. That they're not playing. So if y'all know, like the Kurds, there's a lot of movement going on inside. It's coordinated, so I ain't gonna even talk about what might be going on inside, other than some shit going down. That this the footage. They tore this shit up. And they hit and this is one thing I was talking about, I want to say a couple months ago. I want to say when this back in May. They're gonna they keep on playing. What's up? Oh yeah, I saw that too. He said that Monday. So it's on. It might be round the clock. Take people out mode today now, man. It's crazy, and I think we're at that point because like they're not doing right, and then I heard now you got the middle other Arab nations joining in on the fight. So it's all there's more. This Rodos
on U.S.
So this Iran's keep on. Like I said, they retaliated. So here's that.
Iranian armed forces launched attacks on U.S. military infrastructure in Gulf states on Thursday. The attacks come after fresh U.S. strikes on Iran, putting further strain on a 3-week-old ceasefire agreement.
And almost ceasefire.
Video released on Thursday shows a member of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps writing on a missile a message of revenge for the death of slain Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He was killed in U.S. and Israeli strikes on the first day of the war. After a week of mass funeral processions and rallies, Khamenei was buried on Thursday. Iran's revolutionary
you know what? I believe that.
Guard's Navy said the U.S. attacks and intervention in redirecting shipping through the Strait of Hormuz were disrupting the waterway's gradual reopening. It said any further U.S. intervention will draw a, quote, crushing response. The
Sure.
U.S. military said its latest strikes were aimed at keeping the strait open, following what it said.
You know why I don't believe what they're saying? WWE just had an event about. I heard about that. I saw him come on the tarmac. WWE just had an event in Riyadh. The Night of Champions. There was no type of situation that happened there. So I don't think they're capable of doing what they need to do. Here's more news on the us going hard. So let's see what Fox News I say.
Trying to control. Swing on over here. Night number 1, 2 nights ago, you had 80 Iranian military targets in their sites. They include coastal radar sites that I just showed you over there, some of these command and control networks, and the anti-ship missile capabilities. Then last night, we had about 90 Iranian military targets, occluded a bridge in northeastern Iran, but primarily the similar sites here now, air defense systems, coastal surveillance assets, and these naval capabilities. There have been dozens of these small Iranian boats that have been taken out just this week alone. I'm going to bring in Dan Hoffman to join Sandra and me. And sir, good morning to you. Are we back at war?
Yeah, I think we are. Look, when Iran chose to strike those oil tankers.
That was a dumb move, by the way, by Iran. Like, honest got true, Iran best bet was to allow the ceasefire, chill out for a month or two, let the World Cup do its thing, let everybody forget about the situation. Trump not gonna forget, but let everybody else forget about it. Then start doing that, because you'll be affecting the midterms. Because that'd be if I'm a that's why I'll be doing because you gotta know our system. Like, people don't think the long term here when it comes to politics. They looking at, okay, gas is high. Okay, this is happening. This is happening. This is happening. We gotta change. We gotta change it. That's how we think in America. And they just keep doing stupid shit. So right now, like, Trump can annihilate the IRGC to a point where you could render them useless and they can't do anything they want to set out to do anymore. That's what's probably going to end up happening here. And he don't even have to do an invasion if you want to do that. Like, he could do so much bad stuff today. The military gone already, but the little remaining. Then of course you got resistance fighters there waiting. This could get. I mean, that's part of what's going to happen now, man. Be honest with you, because you turn off the lights, man. Hey, turn off the light with a bunch of pit bulls in one room and see what happens.
Transiting the Strait of Hormuz, that was a deliberate provocation. Iran had to have anticipated the United States response. And they did that because a state of war against the United States and
I already know.
And our Gulf allies, that's oxygen for this hardline IRGC.
JJ, you don't have to tell me. I'm looking at the posturing. Like, you can kind of tell the tea leaves, man. If you know what you're looking at, I'm not necessarily. I'm not no intelligence officer or anything on that, anything, whatever. But I can kind of read movement. I can peep game when, like, if I start seeing certain people I know that's in the military, they posture and changing. You can kind of tell some shit is about to go down. Like, for example, 9/11. Like, all my family members that was in the military, they posture changed. Even though they knew it was game time then. Everybody knew it was game time. But let's take 9/11 out there. Let's say Somalia, right? When their warlord did what they did, then the Black Hawk Down situation happened. I've heard. I went over the story about what happened to H-Town earlier. I don't know if you saw it. I went over that's the first story. Second story I did.
Regime in Iran. I think they also want to test the United States by driving up oil prices and disrupting trade, global trade, with an eye towards gaining some leverage in their interaction with the United States. I don't even know if we'll see negotiations as were planned before these strikes in Islamabad on 11 July. But Iran sees this as an opportunity, especially in advance of the to gain some leverage.
You know, Dan, this is a post from the Institute of the Study of War late yesterday. Iran's behavior after the latest U.S. strikes indicates that the Iranian regime.
Yeah, so basically, Mexican president talking about she's going to pursue legal action against the United States because ICE shot a Mexican citizen, which wasn't even supposed to be here. All right. Iran behavior after the latest U.S. Strikes indicates that the Iranian regime values control over the strait more than avoiding renewal escalation with the United States. Yeah, that's obvious.
Values.
Yeah. Here's more. Put that motherfucker up. Yeah. All right. We got a transition.
Okay.
So, Mandami, look, this is a bad look, man. It's a bad look. I'm gonna play. Just gonna play a slide of this.
New York is so gay.
Hello. And we're happy about it.
And we're happy about it.
Oh wow. Talking about what's going on with the DNC. And come on, Jasmine. What are you doing? What are you doing, Jasmine? You cute, but what are we doing here? Come on.
So for me, I am going to be working everywhere. The best thing that I can do for James Tallarico isn't me standing on a stage with him. It is the fact that I endorsed 5 candidates in the runoff who all happen to be Black men in the state of Texas, and every single one of them won, and they're going on to November, meaning that they will pull out more Black people to vote. People keep trying to say, well, Jasmine has to go and hold his hand. No, I don't. And don't worry about my math and how it works in my mind. Because the reality is that if you can give people more than one thing to vote for, then you have a better chance of getting them out to the polls. And honestly, some people just not going to be sold on certain people that are running in the state of Texas. So the best thing that I can do is take down ballot candidates who no one's ever heard of and do my best to uplift them and increase the voter participation in a way that we did in Texas. You see, a lot of haters got a lot of things to say about me and my race and how I ran it. But the reality is that there was a lot of racist, not a lot. It was racist. It was a racist race. It is what it is, right? But we live in.
I'm gonna be objective here, JJ. I'm about to be objective. What she just said about, uplifting down ballot voting people, that's actually pretty smart. I'm gonna give it to her. That's actually pretty smart because that's how, if you want to get more representation and everything, right? That's what you want to. That's what you gotta do, especially if like they going on the polls, which on its face is smart, but technically they probably was gonna be unopposed no matter what if they're in certain districts. Like if they're in third ward district, I don't know who runs that. Like, I don't know if she's referencing statewide, like as in state representative, state senator type stuff, or she's talking about like at House of Representatives where, yeah, because like the redistricting is going to be few and far between of those type of counties. So that's interesting to me. So in theory, she got a point on getting people from down ballot so she can have more influence in the long term. But in reality, I don't think it really matter because, like I said, redistricting will change. Yeah, she's done. Her biggest weakness, man. Look, she got name recognition. She's attractive. Women, a lot of women hate when we bring that up. That's a plus. Like being attractive in politics, that's a 5% swing right there in general. Now you smart with that attraction. You're smart and you understand policy and everything. It takes you to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Like if you there's a science to this shit. Like Obama, I'm not saying he attracted to some people. I'm not on that type of time. But what I'm saying, like him, and how he conduct himself on speeches, how he conduct himself in interviews, he seems smooth, he seems cool and calm, collective. That's attractive to people. Then he does good speeches. I mean, he can perform a speech pretty well. You know what I'm saying? That's a plus. Like I said, like there's a template where you could be. You could be, you know, that attractive, smart person and have a little edge to you too, but don't look ignorant. Like Jasmine really squandered her she had like 3 things going for her. She just squandered it because she wanted to keep on. You can't keep on playing race card. You can't keep on talking about Trump. You got to talk about what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to stand. See, the problem with the Dems right now, we about to go deeper in it. Like they have a masculinity problem because right now, if they had real dudes running the party right now, they would have been working with Trump from day one when it came out as a mandate that he was supposed to be in White House, as in popular vote, statewide position, popular vote, electoral college. Right there, you work with him. Immigration, you work him on that to a point, and then you work on the economy. Just get the economy rolling. Clean up the homeless shit. Get that bullshit out the way. Get stuff that people see in your cities that look crazy and everything. That would be my first thing. If I was running the Democrat Party, that'd be the first thing I did do. Then secondly, just wait. Because the thing is, Trump is restless. He gonna want to do everything real like he been doing. He's gonna have stumbles doing it that way. All you had to do was wait. Then now, bam, you had the midterms. Once he start going at Iran, you got the midterms because gas went up. That's it. That's all you gotta do. But the thing is, they were so hell bent on going against his every move. Now you win against his every move on everything. Now the far left is still trying to take you out the game, which they was gonna do it anyway. But at least if you had some type of economics behind your back, Raceman. Yeah, how she treat her staff, I agree with that, JJ. How she in the ghetto loud. Look, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite here. Like, people said that about Trump being kind of abrasive, say what he mean, everything like that. I'm not gonna sit up here and knock her by what she said, how she say things or everything. What I'm going to knock her on is she didn't really know. she ain't really strategized right to win that. Like calling your own party racist is crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's just dumb. Like you kind of need to take Trump out of it till it's time to put Trump in it. And she was leading with that shit. That's another mistake. I'm being fair, like I'm being very fair because like the ghetto loud, that she could play that in her favor as like I'm really from the hood, I'm really from this region, even though she's not. She could play that whole thing. My problem with all this is she kept on going against Trump. She kept on doing the race baiting. And honest got you, Tederico is really worse than her just because he's a true believer. I don't believe she's a true believer in what she's talking about. And that probably one of the reasons she didn't make it. So here's some more. This is from a former DNC staff. I seen her shout out to homie Brandon Tatum. I seen her on Tim Pool, all kinds of places. Let's read.
It took me a while to see it, and I'm ashamed I didn't see it because, as I mentioned, my family.
You're right about that, but the thing is, the Dems, they don't care about that. They just want they look. Hillary played that card a lot, which I know Hillary's a different animal politically. I'm not calling her animal, Hillary. I'm not calling you animal. I'm just saying politically you're a different animal than Jasmine. So she could get away with a lot of stuff. She got, like I said, name recognition goes a long way in politics. So
Family escaped the CCP.
But she was ghetto and loud, but she still had good policy that could be overcome. Let's read.
And I'm ashamed I didn't see it because, as I mentioned, my family escaped the CCP and everything was red and it had like communist insignia. It was
very crafty.
Obviously communist. Here, the Democratic Party is fooling you. They are scamming you into thinking that they are liberal-minded people with the blue and the donkey and the American flag and everything. I bought into it. But now I realize that it's just communism in a blue garb.
Yeah.
Medicare for all is socialism. It's
so Medicare for all, man. You have to understand, people gotta understand this, right? If let's say Medicare is free right now, government's gonna have to have checks and balances. They're gonna have to produce checks and balances, and nothing's free. That means you're gonna either get wait times. That means somebody's gonna be kind of telling you what treatment you should get and other than your doctor, you're gonna have a political apparatus telling you that you can't afford to make you have this. It's like I said, you could do Medicare right now. In some cases, and I'm guarantee you have a bad dentist situation. Like they're gonna put that silver crown on you. They might be changing now, but back in the gap, you the hood. You got that silver crown. You got silver teeth in your mouth. That's just the reality of it. And what's crazy, people who talk about they want to be socialist. Why didn't you join the military? That's closest thing to government control, like situation you could get with keeping your freedom. But they too pussy to do that. But that's another story.
An attempt to get everyone on the government dole. They want dependency.
Yep.
They want a welfare state because then you'd be easier to control.
Yep.
And also you're more likely to vote for them. There's a reason why they're so welcoming of illegal aliens. We are spending $150 billion.
And that's why they so cool with the homeless. Because it's easy. Look, it's a racket. Everybody want to save the homeless. Everybody want to save starving kids and everything like that. Want to get people back on the right foot. Except for people who benefit from people being in that situation. So yeah, she said everything she said is perfectly right. Why you think our neighborhoods, I'm talking about in the black community, our neighbors haven't really got super better? It was a point where, why did our neighborhoods get worse? Like even from the old school gang days to now, right? Where at least in the gang days, you still had a significant amount of intact families that was keeping kids out of that situation, or even better yet, making that situation better. You know, like even the gang bang, like the old school people were banging, they still had some type of respect for some things. Believe it or not, it had a colder thing. Not like once they start getting on drugs and all that stuff, that's when that code go away in a lot of cases. But most of the time, they still had some type of code, unless it was on a war type time. But let's read.
A year, housing and feeding and taking care of illegal aliens. Meanwhile, we have Americans suffering in cities across Appalachia, in rural states. We're not taking care of them. Why are we elevating foreigners over the American people? I just don't understand. It's like mind-blowing.
Yep. That's good. So to piggyback on that, this is crazy. Shout out to Devore.
So it seems that Zohran Mamdani is now stabbing his own voters in the back because according to his new proposal, his salary and the salary of New York City Council will see an increase of almost 20%. All we're going to do here in this particular story is use their logic against them. So according to them, anybody receiving a pay increase, anybody getting kickbacks, anybody making more money or finding tax breaks, that's all evil, right? And that's what he ran on. We want to tax the billionaires, the wealthy, anyone who's getting rich. We need to go after them. Well, based on that logic alone, why would we be looking at an 18.2% increase? I'm not understanding. And his salary is $305,000. I wonder what the rest of the city council is pulling in. If only their salaries were based on the economic status of the city itself. So, you know, when you're out of budget, when costs go up because you guys can't pass the right zoning laws, okay, for housing, right? Crime goes up, their pay should come down. I mean, I wish Congress was that way. So it seems
the birthright citizen thing, man, that's a rough one. That's a rough one. Huh? I saw that, like, yeah. So you want to see some more Democrat unhinged stuff? Here we go.
If Democrats do not win the midterm elections, Black Americans will be back in the cotton fields.
Cotton fields, really, nigga? Really? How, Sway? How are we gonna get back on the cotton fields if y'all don't win the midterms? How that's supposed to work? How the fuck is that supposed to work? So I'm JJ, I need help. Anybody, I need help. How the so we had all these Republican-led Congress and Senate, like when they had pretty much a majority in the House, Senate, and the presidency. We had this before. We had this on the Bush. We had this on the first Trump, and then we had this on the we got it now. Legit. If they want to put us in cotton fields, that's just hypothetically say they gonna magically put every black person in America on the cotton field. Why haven't they done it yet? I mean, make it make sense. Why would they? Do he know that we actually? Do he know that we actually got cotton fields that existing right now that's operating at high efficiency right now with barely anybody picking it? Like they using machines. So why would they want to add a whole group of people to do a job where they doing it way more efficiently than it used to be? My God. Who's believing this? I got to play this again because it doesn't make any sense.
If Democrats do not win the midterm elections, Black Americans will be back in the cotton fields.
JJ, help me. Why would the cotton manufacturer want a group of people that's not agriculturally sound anymore? Okay. That they got a way more efficient way of harvesting cotton. Like harvesting cotton, I mean, they harvesting cotton just like they're harvesting everything else. I'm trying to figure out why would they need our black ass to get that when they already efficient, they already making. Hold up, they already making a shitload of money already. If somebody fall for this, man, y'all, man. So here we go. This is hold up. This is Democrat Socialist America, folks here. And this is what we gotta worry about. That's my point, JJ. Like, it doesn't make sense. How are they gonna get anybody to pick cotton when they don't? John Deere got electric tractors, I believe, that do that. Run on AI and all kinds of shit. Why would they? This is what we did with, y'all. Here we go.
I fuck with any slate that says death to America.
Same. First and foremost, like I'm very, very principled in my politics. And I think like
Toby. Okay. Let's work that out. Metaphor, right? So what is a metaphor for picking cotton? Like, let's work that out. I understand you saying it's a metaphor. You trying to, I mean, it don't work, man. It don't even work as a metaphor. Because, like I said, all right, all right. What would they need from us if they wanted to make it as a slave? They want to make us slaves right now. What would they have us doing right now? Because see, the thing is, our ancestors, when they look, our ancestors, well, people, you told me you should know if you know a lot of the tribes that got caught up in slavery, they would have mastered their own. They mastered that land. They learned they learned how to do the agriculture stuff and everything in Africa. That's why a lot of them were what you call it, peaceful, affluent type. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean he's using a metaphor trying to you know, push a situation, but just none of that makes sense. Cause like even if they wanted to make us slaves, we ain't even capable of doing half the stuff our ancestors was doing, which is reason why they chose them to be slaves, or they already knew how to work the land. It's crazy, and the thing is, like, we got sold out. Our ancestors got sold out. You know, tribes. You know, it's a whole bunch of shit that went on with that. Like, everybody think white men just went into a fucking jungle and pick out a whole bunch of black folks. I mean, y'all do not know what the fuck y'all talking about. But hey, let's read this. This is serious shit right here.
The top of line thing for me is
fuck with any slate that says death to America.
Same. First and foremost, like,
I know what you meant, Toby. I'm just saying, like, people who believe that, they gotta really think about that shit. It don't make sense.
I'm very, very principled in my politics. And I think like the top of line thing for me is anti-imperialism. If I had
anti-imperialism when so come on, man. When whatever, anti-imperialism, that come on, man. Like, you act like the Soviets and communists didn't take over shit. Come on, man. What are we talking about here?
I had to choose a label. Labels aren't necessarily like important to me. I'd probably say communist. I love my next door neighbor as much as I love the person across the globe, and I think everybody should have the same rights to like self-fulfillment and
self-fulfillment doesn't mean anything.
Actualization, and the number one pathway to that is to end the like greatest threat to that in the world, which is the United States.
They want to run as a candidate to destroy the United States. See, these are folks who put you in. They would put you in slavery. They had a chance. It's just the reality of it. And he think he's safe. Toby, it's not medical because they're actively saying that they're going to vote citizenship of Black America. Yep, JJ, you got a point there. They are actively saying that. You got a point there.
Agree with you there,
man. You're starting to sound like a fucking. You're starting to sound a bit like a third worldist.
I was gonna say at first, if it didn't exactly sound like that, but then we got to the dismantle USA part, and I'm like, yeah,
I fuck with any slate.
Yeah, we all know that, Toby.
That says death to America.
Same.
Obviously, in the wake of October 7th, Ahmed,
them,
and many people that are on the springs of revolution, like, really held the line.
In the Red Guard thing, that's a these motherfuckers LARPing like the motherfucker, but like that's some I know it's a Red Guard and communist, you know, the whole Communist Manifesto stuff, but then that's a Red Guard race and fucking Oblivion and Elder Scrolls stuff. Toby, hey, we get you, Toby. We get you. You don't have to explain yourself on that. We get you.
And ensuring that we didn't have to exist in a socialist political organization that condemned Hamas, and really ensured that we held the lines and stood firm in solidarity with Palestinian resistance, because obviously a lot of the work that we do with our...
But, hey, Toby, they are saying that, though. Yep.
Our coalition partners in the Colorado Palestine Coalition, we do a lot of work in Denver DSA. We wouldn't want to put any of the work that we're doing with the Palestine Solidarity Movement locally to come in jeopardy, because we decide that we think it's okay for Zionists to be in DSA. Zionism is a bigoted and racist ideology, and it should not be welcome.
So their definition of Zionism is you just saying Israel should exist, even though all the countries that signed the Abraham Accords, including I think one part of Palestine. I don't know them. Don't quote me on that. But most of them Arab countries, I think only one haven't. I don't know if Egypt has. I don't think Egypt really gives a shit.
DSA under the same auspices of like racism, like bigotry, transphobia, queerphobia,
those words,
etc.,
Nazism,
imperialism, shouldn't be allowed in like our organization.
Yeah. Y'all some of the most racist people on the face of the earth. I don't even want to hear that. Y'all want to hear some shit going on in my neck of the woods? This is crazy here. So, this cop, she's in Fort Worth, man. She's in my neck of woods. And she looking crazy right here. Let's read.
We haven't gone into the event yet.
Absolutely, because you're not allowed into the event.
Why not, though?
Because you're not here to support the event. You're here to aggravate the situation.
So, but it's a public event and we're not allowed to go inside?
They don't want you here.
How do you know that? We haven't even stepped foot in.
Okay, stop asking me questions.
No, we're asking you because you said that we cannot go into a free public event, and we haven't even stepped foot in. They haven't even said we couldn't be there yet. You came out of the vehicle and said that we cannot go into the event. No one in the event said that we cannot step foot in there. No one said that
Right,
yet.
because we're trying to prevent that.
So are we allowed to step in there or not?
You don't have you are allowed to do whatever you can do. You can use your First Amendment right, but you can't go past this barrier. You're not here to support gay pride.
Yeah, but no one said we can't be in the event yet.
I'm telling you can't be in the event.
But we have
Oh,
see that's
you are making
so
up your own rules.
yeah, you're making up your own laws and you're an officer and you don't know that. You're telling us that we can't use it.
I've also worked other protests before to where we have arrested people that have used amplified noise.
All right, so we're not allowed to use it or else we'll get arrested is what you're saying.
Depends.
Depends on what?
Oh my God.
The decibel, right?
Okay, so it is a decibel.
Depends on what you're doing. Depends on what you're saying.
Okay.
You can offend somebody.
All right, hold up. Let's see if I can find. Give me a second. So this, all right, let's go here. Bam. So this became viral today. What are you talking about, Toby? Okay, I don't know you.
That ordinance means like music, not talking. If someone is offended by your talking, then we have a problem.
It's a constitutional violation of our rights. If you shut us down,
No, if they are offended by your speech, okay, then I'll write you the ticket and we'll go from there.
Wait, you're going to take us for offensive speech?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you serious?
That is-
You're going to cite.
Oh, that's definitely. She gonna lose her job. Toby, dude, it's not. They can't give unlawful orders. Like, let's say, all right, if let's say they went to the protest, right, and they just spoke what they were speaking on and moved around, and they didn't interfere with anybody's movements, anything. They're speaking it, and you could do that. There's no rule against that. What is a rule is, let's say you go and you stop an event or something like that yeah, they could arrest you at that point because you stopping something. But like right now, this dude's on the side of the street. He's not interfering with traffic. He's not interfering with anybody walking around. He's not interfering. He's just there, speaking his mind, right? Second Amendment. He probably got a permit to be there. So let's read it. Let's look at this again.
That ordinance means like music, not talking. If someone is offended by your talking, then we have a problem.
That is a constitutional violation of our rights. If you shut us down,
No, if they are offended by your speech, okay, then I'll write.
Offended. That's not how this works, man.
Get this ticket and we'll go from there.
Wait, you're going to take us for offensive speech?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you serious?
Speech.
You're going to cite us for offensive
it's called disorderly conduct.
That's,
oh,
no.
Yes,
Disorderly conduct has to be accompanied by conduct.
This is the conduct
I'm
that
a
you're
retired
doing.
police officer myself.
Oh shit, he's
26 years
fucked.
federal law enforcement.
So it's federal. So this has nothing to do with local.
Wow.
That's nothing to do with local.
Yeah. Well,
That's bullshit. That's bullshit right there. What she's saying. Oh man, hey, y'all need to get her off the force, man. She can't be doing this, man. She gonna get y'all sued. She's better get y'all sued.
You can do.
Whatever we think. Wow.
It says 80 decibels.
But y'all know the law so well. I'm not gonna let y'all.
So I just want to clarify. If anything is said that's offensive, you're going to write a ticket?
If someone complains that your language or what you're saying is offensive,
Hey,
pretty loud. So
no,
you
got to define offensive. So technically, if let's say they're out here cussing people out, inciting a riot type of situation, okay, that's one thing. But like they just speaking the word of God and people getting mad and everything, that's not offensive speech. Oh man, this shit. All right. Update. This former Texas police officer is facing massive demands to be fired after she issued a citation warning to a Christian preacher for quote unquote offensive speech. It's a public area, exactly. Oh yeah. Speaking of that. Speaking of that. Hold on, let me go. I just saw that. Hold up. I'm not. I just saw that. Where did I just seen that at? I just saw that. It's not popping up. Hold on, give me a second. All right, here we go. And I noticed that this is like Main. So it look like Main Street. It look like over there by Main Street. That just went down. I don't really go over there. But that's that's that area.
School officer. My name is David Grisham, and in Grisham versus Fort Worth, 2014-15 was settled out of court with the city of Fort Worth. We settled on this exact dispute. And the settlement was that I could preach anywhere on a public street that's free and open to the public in downtown Fort Worth. That's on Grisham versus Fort Worth.
Yep.
Downtown. This is
That's bullshit.
To whoever they decide they don't want anybody in here because they have permits. So if you want to preach, you have to be outside the barricades. So like if you want to stand right there and preach, stand right there and preach.
So if we preach inside, what will happen?
You'll be asked to leave.
And if we don't leave, what will
You'll
happen?
be arrested for trespass.
Be arrested
On the street here?
On a public street, for being on a public side.
When somebody has a permit, yes.
Okay.
They're authorized to let whoever they want in, kick out whoever they want.
Right. This is exactly the same argument they made in 2014-15, in which a federal judge ruled against and said that we were allowed to preach on any public sidewalk as long as it's free and open to public, which is in compliance with Supreme Court ruling that says if it's free and open to public, you can't discriminate based on religion.
It's a permitted site.
It is permitted,
So it's not free and open.
it's not closed off, and they're not charging you.
Barricades are closed off.
This is to keep the Muslim terrorists out.
It's a barricade.
We know that. I mean, come on. We know this to keep the Muslim terror.
Oh, all right.
And I agree with that. That's a great thing. No, we're doing a great job with that.
So if you want to preach, you can preach outside the barricades.
So if we preach inside the barricades on this public street right here that's free and open to the public, we're going to be arrested.
It's not a public street, it's permitted. You understand that?
I understand that.
So
But they don't own the street. It's still public.
They own it because it's permitted. City of Fort Worth says these are your streets tonight.
That cop might, he actually got a point there. Hold up. Hold on, he got a point on the permit side, but hold on, let's see. Recipe of intent occupied by folks probably is features of all right.
So we including the public sidewalk and this public street here.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the fact they got a permit might save that cop's job right there, because it's the same thing when it comes to the Carmelo situation, where if you on public property but you using a certain spot, your team is using a certain spot for that time being and everything, and you responsible, becomes it's like a private situation once that happens. If like I said, it was an event that you're invited to and you have a designated area, that designated area it's not public anymore. So that's probably one thing that's gonna save this cop, because they had a permit. If they didn't have a permit, he couldn't do anything to that preacher. But the fact that they have a permit, that might be the legal loophole that the cop was using on there. So yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna say on this one, I think they probably did get a permit, because if they got a barricade and the police is patrolling, they more like they got a permit. So that's I think the preacher might be wrong on that one. But hey, if they don't have a permit and the police there, they violation of constitutional right. So this is the crazy thing. 36-year-old man in New York City was arrested after he was caught on security footage throwing Molotov cocktails at two separate churches. So they burning churches in New York now, man, or somebody is. Yeah, that's crazy, JJ. If that's true, that's crazy. But what they're gonna try to do is say, well, he came, he trespassed. Oh, a ticket. Okay, ticket's one thing. He probably, and see what's more likely gonna happen. They probably gonna dismiss that ticket. They just want to get him up out of there. That's what's gonna end up happening. But hey, if like I said, if they didn't have that permit, yeah, they can't stop him from saying what you're gonna say. Now they can say, well, if you using a megaphone or whatever, they could probably get them on that, because you gotta have a permit in some cities. I don't know about Fort Worth, but some cities you gotta have a permit for that if that's the case. So yeah. All right. This fool was burning churches, man. I'm glad they picked them up, man. Hey, we gotta be real careful in these streets, for real, man. It's a lot of crazy folks going on. Yeah. All right. No, I agree with that, JJ. But what I'm saying, the saving grace that cop gonna have is if that whole situation is a private event, because he could say you arresting a private event, you arresting people there. That's what they're gonna say. Unfortunately, I'm just talking about the legal shit. So look, I don't keep it, but I'm not gonna really speak too much. This is the last story in a way. So this is gonna be the next thing politics is gonna push. This tragedy happened with this 18-year-old boy, man. It's a sad situation. Dude was hanging out with his friends. They happen to be white. People gonna make a big deal out of that, or got hateful people in the world, man. But like he didn't go. He something happened. He didn't go with them, or whatever happened. Kid, I was 18. Like shit, if I had a little something on that island, I probably gonna. I'll catch y'all later. We have to do our thing. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way I'm thinking from my standpoint. So that could have easily happened to me. Like could have got caught up in some shit. But like I don't know what necessarily happened. Nobody really know what happened. I'm gonna wait till the stuff come out. But I don't like when people use stuff like this to try to divide groups of people up, man. I just don't like that. And we gotta be real careful of hearing people talk like that. You know what I'm saying? And I hope this don't blow up to a situation they're trying to make. I want to let's let the evidence show exactly what's going on, and we have to start accepting that, man. Because like anything could have happened in this situation. We don't know yet. Let's let the shit play out. Maybe we're gonna have video footage if it's at the island or whatever, on the island or on the boats or whatever. You might have something going on. So let's just wait, man. That's all I really got to say about that, man. So that's pretty much all I got today. I'm glad everybody showed up. I need to do more of these, man. I went through a lot of stories. Like I did go through everything that went on, everything. That's my point, JJ. That's what I'm gonna do too, man. Like it's a tragedy in general. I'm not gonna push anything from this. I can only speak on my experiences where I was that dude that, you know, I would be the one. I had white homeboys. I had a mixed crowd, but like when I hang out with my white homeboys, like if something there for me, hey man, hey, I'll catch y'all later, man. Hey, there's something here for me. This is the way it was, like, and they understood that. It wasn't, dude. We think differently on that. We ain't gonna be like, oh no. We're gonna be like, hey, shit, get your thing, man. I'll meet you on the other side. Anything could happen in that situation. Legit, like, anything can happen in that situation. Until I see proof, real proof that they had some type of animosity, they had some type of shit going on. I see that. Okay, maybe I change the way I'm looking at this. But they really trying to. They people really trying to divide us, man. It's sickening. And it's politics. So I'm gonna leave it at that, man. I'm not gonna go deep in this. It's a sad situation. Pray for the family. Gone too soon. And the thing is, I'm not gonna sit up here and put too much emphasis on this while I don't know what's going on, and knowing things that happen in my neck of the woods, which I could have went over, but it's a lot of stuff I went over today. But hey, salute to everybody. Salute to JJ. Salute to Toby. Salute to the NYC. I know Phoenix was in the back. She dealing with some stuff right now. Salute to her. Salute to Selena. Salute to let's see who else. Salute to, I think Trina was in here earlier. Salute to everybody that showed up, man. I appreciate everybody. I am gone. Peace. Hold up. I almost tripped out. Hold up.